Dear learner, there are various steps in report writing. There are different steps in report writing, and we are going to look at the general steps that may be involved in report writing or in writing a report. And these steps are: number one, planning and research; number two, organizing and information; number three, writing the report; number four, revising and editing; number five, formatting; number six, finalizing the report. So when it comes to number one, planning and research, it's important that we look at the future, we do different courses of action, and then that research is planned properly. So we are going to look at each of these steps in report writing briefly so that we can see, when it comes to the general steps that are involved in report writing, what is involved in number one, planning and research, what is involved in at number two, organizing the information; number three, writing the report; number four, revising and editing; number five, formatting; and number six, finalizing the report. We can start from number one, step number one in writing the report. So number one is planning and research. It is important that those who are involved or want to set up a research process define the purpose of the research, identify the audience of that research, then gather information. So at the planning stage, defining the purpose of the research will involve clearly coming out with an outline of the goal of the report, what is intended to be achieved or communicated. It's important to answer that question. What is the report intended to achieve or communicate? So that helps in creating a clear definition of the purpose of the report. Then it's important that the audience of a specific or a particular report is identified. So in this aspect, it's important to determine who will be reading the report so that the report can be tailored in a language and a level of detail accordingly. So if a report is being done for field staff, then it's important to understand the needs of the field staff, maybe in a health setting, or the need of the field staff, maybe in an audit setting, as the case might be. Then it is also important at the planning and research stage of the research to gather information. So it is important that relevant information is collected, facts and evidence are gathered to support the report. So reliable sources, for instance, books, articles, interviews, or surveys may be picked upon to assist in gathering information. So, dear learner, in step number one, which is planning and research in the process of report writing, we'll define the purpose of that particular research or report. We'll identify the audience for whom the report is meant, and we'll also bring out the methods that are required or the approaches that are required to obtain the information from different sources like books, articles, interviews, and surveys as may be appropriate. So that is what could take place in the first step of writing a report. How about the second step? So the second step is concerned with organizing the information. It's important that an outline is created and an order is determined. So creating an outline will involve putting in place a structure of the report by dividing it into sections and subsections. This assists those drafting the report or preparing the report to organize their thoughts and ensure there is a logical flow. When it comes to determining the order, the best sequence has to be decided for presenting the information. And at this point of determining the order, it is important to consider the relevance of each point. The relevance of each point, so that if, for instance, you need to make certain, you need to deduce or you need to arrive at a particular, for example, recommendation, then there has to be a sequence where the reader can read the background, the reader can read certain information, the reader can come to certain gaps, the reader can see why particular methodologies were being, for example, used. The reader can see the kind of maybe analysis that was being done, and then the analysis of data can now point towards a particular conclusion, so that way there is a sequence. So in the second step of writing the report, which is organizing and organizing the information, it is important the drafters of a report create an outline and determine the order in which the report will be sequenced. In the third step of report writing, it's now the writing the report. And when it comes to writing the report may be categorized into two parts, three main parts. That is the introduction, the body of the report, and the conclusion of the report. So introduction of the report, the body of the report, and the conclusion of the report. In the introduction, it is important the drafters or those who are writing a report have to grab the reader's attention with a strong opening statement. Then it's important to briefly state the purpose of the report and its main points. So within the introductory part, the report is expected to grab the reader's attention with a strong opening statement and a brief statement that provides the purpose of the report and its main points. So at this introduction part is expected to motivate the reader. The report could be extensive. So this first part should motivate the reader who picks the report to be able to at least be motivated even to go deeper to be able to read the report. When it comes to the main body of the report, each section is expected to be developed in relation to outline in detail. Develop each section of the report, outline in detail. Present your findings, arguments, and evidence in a clear and concise manner. Use headings and subheadings to improve readability. What this main body part should do, it should provide an easy navigation. It should provide for easy navigation, so that if an individual or a reader is going into a report, they could be interested in a particular part. So they can very easily look at the report outline and read the overview of the report, yes, but then concentrate on those particular sections or subsections that could be important, or maybe they want to extract something to assist them in making a particular focused, for example, decision or attention. The conclusion part of the report should summarize the key points of the report, should also restate the purpose and significance of the findings, and offer recommendations or suggestions based on the report. In concluding a report, in general, the report should summarize the key points of the report, should restate the purpose and significance of the report, and should offer recommendations or suggestions based on the research that has been carried out. And this is where you may have now what is called empirical decision making, or decisions that are made supported by data or scientific studies, for instance, or report-based decision making. So that then means a decision is informed by looking at a study that has been conducted, and if it has been conducted in a sound way, these kind of decisions are expected to assist in having maybe solutions to challenges or problems that could be encountered in a given setting. So in the third step, which is very crucial in writing a report, writing the report stage or phase, this is categorized into three: introduction, body, and conclusion. And it's very important for those who are drafting or preparing a report to focus their attention, because this is what will define whether the report achieves its objectives or not. When it comes to the fourth stage, this is now revising and editing. Number 4, revising and editing step in report writing. Here, those writing the report are expected to check for clarity, correct errors, seek feedback. In checking for clarity, it's important to ensure that your writing is easy to understand and free from ambiguity. Correcting of errors requires proofreading carefully for grammar, spelling, and punctuation mistakes. Seeking feedback is getting input from others to identify areas for improvement. So when a report has now been written, when the report is being written, there could be certain misalignments that may not come out clearly. But when it comes to revising and editing, then it is important that clarity is sought, errors are corrected where they may exist, and feedback is obtained to ensure that that report is coherent or is clear in relation to providing the readers or the audience with a report that can flow without gaps, so that readers don't have to seek inquiries in relation to that could be missing. Number 5, formatting. Formatting. So once a report has been prepared, an organization or an institution would be having the rubrics or the standards that are supposed to define how a report is supposed to appear. And when it comes to formatting, those drafting a report should choose a format, select a suitable format for the report, such as APA, MLA, or Chicago style. And these kind of styles have got their conventions, which are expected to be consistent. For example, referencing and citations must be consistent depending on which one has been chosen. Then use consistent formatting. Maintain consistency in font size, spacing, and headings throughout the report. Include citations. It's important to properly cite all sources that have been used in a report in order to avoid plagiarism, to ensure that due recognition is given to those places where the information is sought. So this step number 5 in writing a report is in relation to formatting, and whoever is writing a report has to choose a format, has to use consistent formatting, and has to include citations as the case might be, to ensure that we avoid plagiarism when it comes to report writing. Step number 6 in writing a report is finalizing the report. And when it comes to finalizing the report, there are 3 things which should be considered: review and revise, prepare a final draft, submit or distribute. So in review and revise, this is where any necessary changes are made based on feedback or input from the writer's own review. When it comes to preparation of a final draft, it's important that a clean and polished version is created for the report. Then when it comes to submitting and distributing, it is important that the report is submitted to the intended recipient or distributed as required. So if this report what is being done as part of an academic discourse, for example, or a learning process, then whoever has prepared the report or the student prepares that particular report, submits it to a supervisor. The supervisor goes through the report, gives the report a go ahead, and then that report is submitted to the maybe department or to the school or to the university or to the college. If a report is being done and it had what you call terms of reference or TORs, then you look at the TORs, and then whoever is submitting that report follows the guidelines that were provided in relation to the appointing authority or whoever had requested for that particular report. So those are the six steps that should be looked at in relation to report writing. We can go through that very quickly. So different steps in report writing. We have looked at number one, planning and research step, which involves defining the purpose of the report, identifying the audience of a report, and gathering information for the report. Step number two, organizing the information in relation to report writing. Here, an outline for the report is created, and the order for which the report will be done is also determined. Step number three, which is writing the report. Within that, there are three sections for the report, which we have looked at: the introduction of the report, the body of the report, and conclusion of the report. In the fourth step of report writing, we have looked at revising and editing, which may include checking for clarity, correcting errors, and seeking feedback. At number five, formatting of the report. Here is where the writers or the drafters of the report choose a format for the report. They use a consistent formatting and include citations in the report to ensure it avoids plagiarism and is complete. And in the sixth stage, which is finalizing the report, the writers or drafters of a report review and revise the report, prepare a final draft of the report, and submit or distribute as the case might be in relation to the reasons why a report was being prepared.